Good afternoon, Nunwalik students. I have had to redo the section review for section 1.2. I discovered as I uploaded it to YouTube that it did not work. So I am busy getting this section done so that it can be re-uploaded and used for your use. So with environmental science, we are now in section 1.2 in the chapter, and the title of this chapter is Earth's Land and Water. So using our journal guides to guide us with the work that is to be done and completed by you. For high school students, now we are in section 2, so we are going to review the outline, the objectives, vocabulary definitions, section review questions, and the figure. For middle school students, your expectations for section 2 are to write down your objectives, get your vocabulary definitions down, and complete your section review questions. So let's get started. So the outline for 1.2 is as follows. Our Roman numeral 1 indicates that we will put in the title of the section, and the title of the section is Earth's Land and Water. Then our next subset of categorizing in the outline is using the capitalized alphabet. And so within this section, we will categorize the objectives. We have a subsection, subheading called the lithosphere, and within this subheading is a further subcategorization of some topics, and those include the igneous rock. So the categorization of the subheading, we will indicate this by numbers. So 1, igneous rock is found under lithosphere. 2, sedimentary rock is found under lithosphere, and 3, metamorphic rock is also another subtopic within the lithosphere. So then after the lithosphere, we have the hydrosphere, and the last will be the section review that is part of identifying what the outline looks like. And again, the outline, this is an expectation for high school students. So high schoolers, and you're wondering, Mrs. Roseberry, what do I do with this outline? And yes, I would like for you to write it down exactly as you see it. And so that is part of your homework and in supporting your learning during this time. So after the outline, we will now review the objectives. So the objective of 1.2 are that you describe the 3 main types of rocks that make up the lithosphere, and second, to explain why fresh water is a valuable resource for organisms. All right, so again, you're asking, Mrs. Roseberry, what am I supposed to do with the objectives? And again, I expect that in your journals that you are writing these objectives down, making sure to put the headings so I know what it is that you are writing in your journals. And so the next element that we will cover are the vocabulary definitions that are within section 1.2. So the vocabulary definitions that we want to take a look at are the words that were bold-faced within the chapter, so within this section, and the italicized words surrounding the bold-faced words are the definitions. So igneous rock is one of the words, and it is solidified liquid rock, kind of like lava, right? So we have sedimentary rock, and these are layers of compressed and cemented sediment. Metamorphic rock, this is rock transformed by heat and pressure. And aquifer, which is an underground layer of porous rock that contains water. And I just realized that I needed to add artesian wells. And these are wells in which water flows to the surface due to high pressure in the ground. All right, so artesian wells. So that is the final vocabulary found within section 1.2. So I have, this picture here describing the igneous rock and how this is formed as a result of a volcano. The sedimentary rock, which is found generally close to the top, next to the sediment. And then metamorphic rock, which is further into the inner core of the earth, where there's high pressures and high temperatures that form metamorphic rocks. Okay. So now we're done with the vocabulary definitions. Now we want to complete our section review questions. And again, your section review questions, I want to make sure that you write down the question as well as the answers. So let's go ahead and take a look at our section review for 1.2. The first question, in which type of rock are fossils usually found? And within your reading, you should have noted that fossils are generally found in sedimentary rock. And number 2, why is the presence of fresh water important to living things? And the answer, again found in your reading, is that fresh water is needed for many biological processes, and the supply or the amount is limited. So fresh water is very important for our biological processes. For instance, 70% of each of your cells are made up of water. And so water is a very important element, for organisms, and that we heavily rely on fresh water as part of our needs for living. So, okay. So number 3, analyze. So think about this question. The amount of salt dissolved in the water of saltwater lakes is often greater than the amount of salt in ocean water. And why do you think this is true? And so as water evaporates, the salt that is left within the lakes becomes more concentrated in the water. Well, you have more water, or water evaporating into the atmosphere. So now you have a body of water that has less amount of water, and so there's more salt concentrated as a result. Salt does not evaporate into the air. Water does, H2O. So while water diminishes because of evaporation, the salt content stays the same and therefore increases in concentration. Okay? So we have taken a look at our section review question. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the figure that is due for review. So figure 1.5, and this is found in the in your packet. And here, more than 75% of the salt in ocean water is NaCl, or table salt. So let's take a look at the minerals in ocean water. So chlorine here, Cl, is 55%. Sodium is 31%. Magnesium, 7.7%. We have elements of sulfur, calcium, and other listed in very small percentages. So with this statement here that more than 75% of the salt in ocean water is NaCl. So sodium, again, is Na. That's its chemical symbol. And chlorine is Cl, the chemical symbol for chlorine. So NaCl is salt. And so here we're combining the 55% to the 31% makes 86%. So the statement here, more than 75% of salt in ocean water is NaCl. Okay, so this ends our review of section 1.2. And before we go ahead and say bye, I'm aware that we've had some recent birthdays and we haven't been in school to celebrate and to wish happy birthday to the students that recently celebrated birthdays, and that would be Justice and Macarius. So I wanted to wish you both a happy birthday. And so you all have a great weekend. All right, bye-bye.